Okay guys, welcome to this new features video on ZBrush 2019. Okay, so in this little tutorial, what I want to do is I want to look at the snapshot 3D feature of ZBrush. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load in just a placeholder. So I'm going to load in the Polymesh 3D star. I'm just going to bring that in. Okay, now it's important to remember, I'm going to go straight into edit mode now. It's important to remember that this star, or the depth of this star, is how much the extrusion will happen in Snapshot 3D. Now, the other thing is you don't have to worry about it too much, because when you do your extrusion, and this will become clear in a minute when I start getting into Snapshot 3D, you don't have to worry too much about the extrusion, because you can always scale it in or mask it and scale it or move it after the fact, because when you do the extrusion, the lines between the front, or the resolution at the front, is what gets quadded up. The actual extrusion part just extrudes it flat out, so you get no geometry apart from the lines coming off, so it's easy for you to extrude it back and forth. If that doesn't make sense to you now, it will do in a minute. Now, I've left it on this crazy Mad Cat red wax because it's nice and clear for videos. All right, when I have, what I've noticed is when I have it in sort of these materials, it's a little bit kind of, you can't really see what's going on too clear, so that's why I've got the crazy Mad Cat wax, just for you guys saying, why are you still using Mad Cat wax, you know. Anyway, right, so inside of your Lightbox, your version of 2019 will come with some presets. Now, if we go into Spotlight, we have these little blocks, alphas, already set up for us. So if I go into one of these, let's just pick this AK hard surface and double click it, what's going to happen is it's going to load these alphas into Spotlight, into here, and then we can activate good old Spotlight, which I'm under my textures palette. I can just come down and I can turn Spotlight on. It's actually already on, so if I press the Shift and the Z key on the keyboard, I can turn it off and on. If I press the Z, I can get Spotlight to come up. Now, the first thing you're going to notice with Spotlight, if you've used it before, is that you've got a few more little icons down here, and these are the magic of this new Snapshot 3D. Right, okay, so first thing, I've got this out of position, so I'm just going to click here just to put it all into position. These are my positional guides for flicking these alphas into position, and then I'm going to come over, and like, you know, if you've used Snapshot before, you can pick one of these and pull them across. I'm going to go and select this square down here, and I'll just make that the active tool up there. And now what I want to do is I actually want to make a clone of this and move it across into position. Now, I don't have to worry about this little placeholder here, so I could actually bring that down. If I come out of Snapshot now, Shift Z, and I just bring that down, I press Shift Z again to bring this back again, I press the Z key to bring Spotlight back up, then what I can do is I can make a clone of this piece here. So the little cloney tool is, bring this off. Remember, to move this, you click in the middle to move the Spotlight. If you want to move this object, you click anywhere in here. So I'm going to make a little clone of this piece so that I'm not actually altering that. So I'm going to make a clone of that now. So let's just click this little clone icon here. Hold on, let me just select this, move this off, clone it, and now, oh, sorry, it's not clone, it's duplicate. Where are you? There. Duplicate. Okay, now I've duplicated it. So now I can move it across, move this little middle bit, and notice there's a little markers along the edge. Now this is basically, if I go over there, it will snap to the middle, and it also snap to the edges. Now what I want to do with this little piece here is I want to make it bigger, and I want to get rid, I'm going to use this background as the template for building my extrusions on. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you how it kind of extrudes. So I've got this little alpha in position. So what I can do is I can just hit snapshot 3D. Now you don't notice anything at the moment till I move this out of the way, and if I now turn spotlight off, Shift Z, you'll notice I've now got a block. But what you'll also notice, and I was saying this to you earlier, is this is the same width as this, and it uses that first subtool that's active, and it uses it as a guide for the depth of that, to get that depth. So then it creates that new tool in there. Alright, so I'm going to go up the top now, and I'm just going to delete this one out, and we're going to get into a little bit more seriousness with Spotlight. Okay, back again, Control Z. Okay, and we got our little piece, so I'm pressing the Z key. So what I want to do now is I want to create a custom template. I want to actually work it a little bit more. So what I can do is I can blow the size up. Before I do that, I'm going to Control Shift and just bring this out of the way, then Control Shift again and press the N key, and I'm going to make this a bit larger. Now what I need to do is, because I'm working in this square, I need to just I don't want this to be part of the alpha, so I need to take this paint down. So I'm going to click in here, and sometimes this doesn't work all the time for me. Here we go. Come on. I always have problems with this. I don't know why, but I always do. There we go. So I want to turn it down so that it's invisible. So just like that. Alright, now that has given me a template to work on. So what I can do now is I can take this piece here, notice this is still remaining, and I can do a duplicate of this piece, same as we did before, and I can put it in the middle there, and I can drag this off, and now I can enlarge the size of this. And over here I've got some other options, so I can make it wider. I could also bring it down like that, and also notice that it clicks to the middle, so I've always got that center point that I know where the center of this template block is. So now I've created that, I could do my snapshot from here, or what I can do is I can actually take this, I can do a snapshot of this piece. This will set this, so I'm going to do a snapshot of this piece. I'm not going to do the cloning. I'm going to do it, sorry, I'm going to do a union. I'm going to click this once. This will basically set it. Now the live version is on top of it, so if I get this and I hold the Shift key, I can start to rotate it round like this, and now I can do this, make it a bit wider. And for you guys that have gone on to Pixologics site, you probably notice I'm doing the same sort of thing that they've done, but I'm going to make it a little bit different. So I've got that in there, and I can move it up by just clicking and holding the Shift key on that red piece. See? So I'm going to bring it down there. I don't know what I'm making at the moment. This is just to demo it to you. What I want to do now is I want to create another union of this. So I'm going to union this. So it's basically adding this alpha to this alpha. So I'm going to click that, and now I've got another piece here which I can change some of these settings for, like this, and I can move this down by holding the Shift, so I'm bringing it to about there. And this time, instead of doing a union with it, I'm going to hold the Alt key, and this will actually invert it, so it won't add to it, it'll take away. So let's just hit this union with the Alt key held, and you'll now notice, if I get this, that you've got this. Yeah. Now I don't need this anymore, I've finished with it, so I'm going to hit the delete here, it will delete it out, and we can go and pick something else. So if I want to go and pick something like, I don't know, maybe this shape here, I can click that and make a duplicate. Okay, just move it over there, lock it to the middle, bring it up and go, okay, I want to make that, I want to make it smaller, like something like that. And then I'd like to bring it up, so I'm holding that. Let's put it in there, and what I'll do is I'll union this. I'm going to bring this down. Like that. Create a union of that. Okay. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it bigger now, just so it's easier for us to deal with. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it into maybe at the side, maybe at the top. Let's just put it at the top, do something magical with it. Okay, and if I want to get it into that center point, remember I can just click in here to the center and just make sure that's matched up. Click into the center. Oop, hold on. Like that. And then I can use that little line, that little green line, holding the shift key, I can drag it up and I know it's perfectly centered. And now I can union this to this. So here we go. So when you're finished with it, come over to the side and delete that out. And then you can take this piece. What I can do now is I can do a snapshot of this. So let's hit the snapshot. Okay, and press the Control Shift. Oh, something happened. Hold on, let me just reselect this piece. I needed to select it, sorry. You needed to select it so it goes orange around the template. And now I'm going to do the snapshot. Okay, good. Right, let's press the Shift and N to get rid of this. And now we have this. Now, it hasn't done the best job because it was very small in that piece. But you can see on the edges that these are just single lines of polygons. So it's added the divisions, or it's gridded it up on this side. So that means that I can press F on the keyboard, come to the side view, and then I could use something like the scale, and I can make it bigger like that. Come into here, put it into a nice material, something like this, and then I have a piece quickly made using this feature. So of course, you know, it's better to work bigger with this sort of stuff. If I press the Control Shift, come back into this now, and I'll just delete out this one here. So I'm back in here, press the key to get in there. So what I could do is take this one here, make a duplicate of it, bring it into the middle, move this down here, make this bigger. I'm going to just cover it all up, make a union of this. We just move it up and do a union of that. And I could now maybe take this like that, move it up here, press the Alt key, delete this out, and I've got this kind of shape, which is a complicated shape. Click in here and then do a snapshot of that piece. And now if I jump into that piece and press the Shift and N key, we've now got this. And if we look at that, it's pretty good, and has given us polygroups. So Snapshot 3D, very powerful. We're not limited by just using the options inside a Spotlight. These we can actually create our own alphas as well, or you can mix these alphas up. So we can create our own alpha set from this as well. So if we just take this one here, just going to delete this out, click OK. We can create our own alphas, and it's really easy to do. We can open up, if we look actually inside the folder structure itself, I'm just going to open up ZBrush. So Pixologics ZBrush 2019. And I'm in the folder structure, Programs, Pixologics 2009 Spotlights. You can see that we've actually got set up, and if you look at these light boxes in here, you'll see that these actually refer to these. Okay, so these are the spotlights that we've got set up. So you can create your own. So I'm going to show you now using Photoshop how you can create your own. Then I'm also going to show you how you can take snapshots inside of ZBrush, and you can also add them to your custom spotlight. So like all of these things, all of these little pieces here were all made, Pixologics made them all and just bundled them, but it doesn't stop you from creating your own. So this is where my little tutorial here comes into its own, because I think Pixologics do a demo of this working, but they don't actually show you how to sort of create your own. They go over it quickly with alphas and things like that, but I just wanted to sort of show you, take it a stage further and sort of show you. And I'm actually going to be doing a course, and I'm going to, as much as possible, try to use the Snapshot 3D to create a model entirely using Snapshot 3D, the gizmo features, and also using the new ZRemesher 3. So it will be another one of my hard surface modeling courses entirely inside of ZBrush. So that's going to be a good thing to look forward to. I'm really excited about that, so I'm really glad they brought this feature out, because I think it's going to really speed up your production on doing this stuff. So like for this one, for instance, if I make a duplicate of this one and we bring this across here, snap it to the middle, blow it up and say, right, okay, that will do, and just do a snapshot 3D of that, and press the Shift and Z, you're going to notice that you can get this stuff out really quickly with really clean topology. Okay, so let's continue on, and I'll show you how to create your own alphas. So I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to just take this and I'm going to delete it out, and we shall carry on. Okay, so let's create an alpha inside of ZBrush first of all, and then let's show you how we can do it in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come into a cylinder 3D, and I'm going to initialize it just to change some of these settings a little bit. So what I want to do is bring this down probably to about 8. So I'm going to enter 8 in there. It doesn't really matter about the subdivisions, divisions, because I'm just going to be taking one end of this. And what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to make a cube. So I'm going to make this Polymesh 3D, and I'm going to go down into the subtool, and I'm just going to take out, actually going to make a duplicate of this piece, which I'm going to select. I'm going to scale it, going to make sure it's centered, going to scale it in the middle, and then I'm going to bring it up. Let's just turn that one on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a boolean to this. So I'm going to turn the live boolean on, and I'm just going to hit this, which should give me the live boolean there, and then I'm going to make a boolean mesh from this. So I'm going to go to boolean, make boolean mesh, and I'm going to now jump to that boolean mesh, which is here, and I'm going to get this in position straight on like this. And now what I'm going to do is I've now got this that I want to create as an alpha. So if I come over to my alpha, I can actually go from mesh, and it will look at this view that I'm on, and it will do that. So I'm going to go from mesh. That looks good to me. I'm now going to zoom out because I want a little bit of space around the outside. Map size really doesn't matter too much in creating these alphas, because it generates the 3D off of it, not based on the alpha. So I'm going to leave that at 512, and I'm just going to click OK. Now you'll notice that that has appeared in there. So what I can do is I can actually add that to a set. If I've got a set made up, I can already add it to it. So under the texture palette here, we've got the spotlight on there, but they give us a handy way of being able to do this. If I go into alpha now that we've got that alpha, I can actually turn spotlight on, so I can add it to the spotlight. So I can click it, and now it's been added to that last selected set that we had. So what I can do is I can jump back to the Polymesh 3D. Let me just press the Control Shift to get out of this, open this up, bring this down, and then press the Shift Z again to bring this back. I'm going to now press the Z key and make this active and make a duplicate of this, and I'm going to jump into the middle and I'm going to move it over here, going to make it bigger, and now I'm just going to do my snapshot from this. Now it'll base the extrusion, remember, on that tool that we've already got. If I press my Shift and I press Z again, you can now see I have that piece in there. So I created that alpha over here, and then I turned it into a spotlight alpha ready to be used in Snapshot 3D. So really cool. Again, look at this, nice clean topology here. I could select half of it, deselect, use the move key, and then I could make that bigger if I wanted to, or I could just do a general scaling on this. And there we go. So very cool. So really easy. You can do what you like. You can produce booleans out, and then you can turn them into alphas from that, which is very cool. I could also do the same with the star as well, by the way. I could select this star, which has got it's modeled, so it's got depth to it. The depth won't come across when I turn it into an alpha, but you'll see. I'll just show you quickly. We're going to go to alpha. We're going to go from mesh. That will create this. We're going to zoom out a little bit here, like that, and then we're just going to click OK to this. So let's just click OK. It's appeared in there. We can then go back up to alpha. We can add that to a spotlight. So now we've got that original ones down there, and we've got this. So I can click this now. Now I'm just going to press the Shift and Z just to move this out of the way, and then Shift and Z again and press the Z key. And now I've selected this piece here. I'm going to duplicate it out if you want to. Let me just move this over here, do a duplicate, move that off. Let's just click this one and move it back in position here. Click this one back again, make it bigger. Now even though it's got you can see that it's actually got gradients on here, and if we use this in the normal sense of the word, because we were using it as an alpha to pull out of a shape, then you're going to get this same pattern that you've got on here. But because we're using it in Spotlight 3D snapshot, it will just take the shape and create that. So I'll just show you, and then you'll be clear on what's going on. So Snapshot 3D, we do that. Shift and Z to get rid of snapshot. Now if we look at it, we've got this, but notice it hasn't given us these, you know, this modeling in here. It's just given us a flat shape, and that's what it does. All right, but it has given us that cutout shape, which is very cool. So that's how we can do it. Two ways of doing it there inside of ZBrush. Now I'm going to create a new alpha inside of Photoshop, and then we're going to bring it into here, and we're going to do the same thing. Now I find that for me personally, this is the method that I would use. I would probably set up a load of little alpha templates that I would position and do inside of Photoshop, and then I would bring them in as their own spotlight set to actually work with. So we're going to look at creating some bits inside of Photoshop, and then I'm going to create a snapshot of those, or a new spotlight texture that I'm actually going to save out inside of our Lightbox spotlight set there. So let's do that next. So now let's jump into Photoshop and set up the document there. Now the most important thing to remember with this is, like any kind of alpha or texture, we want to be working to a square. So let's do that. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to choose 1024 by 1024. I'm going to leave it on RGB and background white. I'm going to create that. So here we go, we've got this. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop a black into here and create a new layer down here. And now I'm going to just come into here and just start to build some blocks out. So I've got one in there. Remember, I'm on this layer. I'm going to switch this to white now, and I'm just going to fill that with white. And I'm going to press Control D to deselect and Control J to make a duplicate of this block, which I'm then going to press Control T to transform it, bring it up holding the Shift key. And then we're creating that same sort of shape that we had before. So now I want to merge this down onto this layer, so Control E to merge that down, and then I'm going to grab a little bit here and I'm going to start to take out some of these pieces. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to delete that out. Press the Control D. I'm going to come into this now, and do remember I've got no feather on any of this stuff, so I'm just going to drag out a circle, and then inside that I'm going to move that into position on there, and I'm just going to delete that out, and maybe I'll move it down here as well and delete that out just to show you what we're kind of trying to do here. And once we're happy with our alpha, we can make that as complicated as we want to. We can then just export that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to export that out, save it as, and on my desktop, and I'm going to save it as just test here. So let me just go test and save that. Okay, maximum thing. So I've got that in there. So I'm now going to jump back into here and I'm going to load that in. So really easy, I can just come up to my textures here and I can just import a new texture. So I'm going to go import. It's on my desktop. I'm going to import that in there. So it's here, and I'm going to add that to a spotlight. So I've already got these ones set up, so I've added that to that spotlight. Now that allows me to come in here and duplicate it, and of course move it here, move it off to the side, and then do my snapshot of that piece. And it will have appeared down there. Control Shift to turn that off. If I turn that around, we've now got a piece that we imported in from Photoshop. So if I turn these two off, you can see there, and if we look at this, it's nice and clean. So there we go, really easy. So now how do we build up a spotlight collection that hasn't got the rest of those pieces on? So if I press Control Shift and Z, you see you've got all these pieces down here. Well, we can save this as a new spotlight set. We can use this as a base and then we can build it. You can just see I've added to these spotlight pieces by adding these pieces in as well. So we'll do that now, I think. So at the moment what we'd have to do is we'd have to go in here and delete all here's to save it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close ZBrush down and reopen it back up to start a new set of alphas. Okay, so ZBrush is open. So what I'm going to do first of all is go down to texture, and I'm going to go and re-import that texture back in here. Now here it is here, so I'm going to import that down in, and I'm going to come to my texture now, and I'm going to click here and I'm going to add it to Spotlight. Now you'll notice it's the only one in here now, so we've got it on its own, which means we can save this out and add it to just basically have a new set. So I'm going to come down to the texture again, and this time I'm going to save this Spotlight. So I'm going to click save. I'm going to go and find my folder on my desktop. Sorry, my Pixologic Spotlight folder, which is in my C folder, Programs, Pixologic ZBrush 2019 Z Spotlights. And I'm going to, you could call this something descriptive, but in this case I'm just going to put custom ZSL file, and I'm just going to save that. Now that is saved inside of here, so I can reuse it. So if I close this project down, also if I go into Lightbox and I go to Spotlight, you're going to notice that you've now got this one here, so you can double click this. So we can start adding to this if we want to. So if we created a new alpha, if we come out of Spotlight now, Control and Z, and we created a new alpha for this, such as like we did before, come down to there, put 8 in here like that. I'm going to go into edit 8 and make that polymesh 3D. Come down here and say duplicate it, go to scale, bring this in and make it longer, and then turn Boolean on and make that Boolean mesh like that, and then come down to Boolean, make Boolean mesh, and find that Boolean mesh, put it straight on, and then go to alpha from mesh. That's what we've got. I'm going to just zoom that in a little bit here, and then we can click OK. And now what we can do, because that last spotlight we had, Control Shift, is that one. If I now add this, if I go to alpha and add to spotlight, it will now be added in here as well. So that means that I'd have to make sure that I save the spotlight out again. So I'm replacing that copy, and now I've got 2 alphas in there, so I can create 2 lots of 3D snapshots from this alpha. Also remember, in here you can bring the size down here, and you can tile these differently if you want to, you know. So I can choose either one of these, and I can bring it in and work with it. So that is basically how this works. You can, of course, using the Photoshop, you could layer different things over the top, and then export loads of alphas out, and then start to build your models up using positioned alphas inside. Because if for instance I take this and I want the same one put in position, I can use something like the quick select. I've kind of forgotten where it is, but it's around here somewhere. Quick select. I can click that one and I can swap that out for that, and it will be in exactly the same position. So if you've got a Photoshop file that's you've actually layered things in position, you can use that quick select to swap things out to build your model up. I'm going to do a course on this, so if this is a bit unclear to you, don't worry. I just wanted to show you the function of 3D snapshot inside of ZBrush 2019. So hopefully this is beneficial to you and you've learned a little bit from it. By the way, you can also use these to Boolean other pieces as well. So you could put this over the top. I think Pixologics, actually, their tutorial, they show you how to use Boolean, but I want to save that for my courses. So this is just a quick snapshot of how it works. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and yep, subscribe if you love my videos.